juga.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, from Group 10, we will explain about sentence coordination and subordination. Before that, I will introduce myself and my partner. My name is Yunniar Anisa Putri, and my partner.
And my name is Ariq Athallah.
So today we will present it about this topic. Is like first, definition, sentence coordination and subordination. Second, types of sentence coordination and subordination. Third, the rules and example. Four, difference between coordinating and subordinating. Okay, the first, like the definition about sentence coordination. Coordination use conjunction to connect two sentences with roughly equal ideas. Both ideas in a coordinate sentence carry approximately equal weight. There are 7 coordination simple. I have a trick to remember the conjunction is to think of the acronym FANS boy. F is for A for N for nor, B for but, O for or, Y for yet, and S for so. You can see at the example, the first example, you can eat your cake with a spoon or fork. In this sentence, use coordinating or. The second example is my dog enjoys being bathed, but hates getting his nail trimmed. And the last example is Bill refused to eat peas, nor will he touch carrot. We look about the types. The sentence coordination have the some types. The first type is cumulative conjunction. Cumulative conjunction merely add one statement to another. For the example, and, both and, as well as, not only but also. You can see the example at the sentence, Tom as well as John passed the test. The second type is adversative conjunction. Adversative conjunction express opposition or contrast between two statements. The example, but, still, yet, whereas, while, nevertheless, and so many examples. The sentence is the rope was thin, but it was strong. The third type is relative conjunction. I'm sorry, I mean alternative conjunction. Alternative conjunction is the conjunction which present two alternative, sometimes indicate a choice between them. Is called disjunctive or alternative conjunction. There are or, either or, neither nor, otherwise, and else. The example at sentence like you can have coffee or tea. You must either obey my instructor or quit. The fourth type is elative conjunction. Elative conjunctions which express an inference are called elative conjunction. The example is for and so. Used in the sentence like sometime some things feel for I heard a thought and he worked hard so he will win. But the last type is conjunction adverb. Conjunction adverb are part of speech that are used to connect one clause to another. They are also used to show sequence, contrast, cause and effect, and other relationship. This conjunction have some type. There are in the peak, like the first cause or effect, therefore hence accordingly, then thus, sequence, next, furthermore, time before and meanwhile, contrast. However, instead, emphasis, indeed, and of course, summarize, finally, in conclusion, illustrate for the example, namely, and comparison also likewise. To use in the sentence, you can see the example in here, like you need to put more effort into your work, otherwise you won't get a passing grade. We want to spend the day at the beach. However, it rains, so we stay home. You can see like however in here to contrast the some situation in here. Next slide, please. The last is the rules. Some instructor warn that starting a sentence with a coordination conjunction is incorrect. Mostly, this is because they are attempting to help prevent you from writing fragment rather than complete sentence. Sometimes, though, it's just a personal preference. The fact is you can begin sentence with coordinating conjunction as long as you follow these three rules for doing. So the first is use ensure that the coordination conjunction is immediately followed by a main clause. The second, don't use coordinating conjunction to begin all of your sentence. Do so only when it makes your writing more effective. At the last, also, commas typically follow coordinating conjunction used in areas other than the beginning of a sentence. They should not be used after the coordinating conjunction used to open sentence unless an interrupter immediately follows. Thank you for me. And the next will be explained by my partner, Ariq Athallah.
Alright, thank you, Mbak Yunniar, and I will continue the presentation about the subordination conjunction. The definition of subordinate conjunction. What is subordination conjunction? A subordinating conjunction is a word which joins together a dependent clause and an independent clause. A subordinating conjunction introduces a dependent clause and indicates the nature of the relationship among dependent clauses and independent clauses. Subordinating conjunctions still function as a conjunction by being a word or phrase that links the main or independent clause. The main idea of the sentence to subordinating or dependent clause. The clauses don't make sense on their own as a complete sentence, but are there to add additional information to the main or independent clause. And subordinating conjunction examples. There are actually seven main categories of subordinating conjunction based on the way in which they connect the independent and dependent clauses together. Each type of subordinating conjunction shows a different relationship between independent and dependent clauses. Take a look at some examples below. First example is comparison. These words or phrases link dependent and independent clauses by comparing the two of them. The example in the word is Tim liked chocolate, whereas Sally preferred candy. And the second example is someone has to speak in public, whether it's you or me. And move on to second category is concessions. The word or phrase linked in the dependent and independent clauses by connecting a point between them. The first example of concession is although I'm going to work, I'd much, I'd much rather stay at home. And the second example is Sally is heading to the park today despite the rain. And move on to the third category is condition. These connect the dependent and independent clauses by showing that the main idea relies on the supporting information. The example is unless you can convince her to be nice, I'm not coming to the dinner. And the second example of condition is Tim wasn't willing to work extra hour in case he missed the big game. And the fourth category of subordinating conjunction is time. Disconnect the two clauses together by showing a time relationship between the two of them. The first example is after Valentine Day is over, we'll go out to eat. And the second example is Sally made it to the front of the line before it was time for lunch. And the fifth category of subordinating conjunction is place. Place subordinating conjunction show position with the relationship. The first example of place subordinating conjunction is the pirate hid the gold where nobody could ever find it. And the second example is wherever possible, you should switch your groceries for health alternative. Move on to the sixth example of subordinating conjunction. It's manner. These words or phrases show something done. The subordinating conjunction is the additional information explaining how something is done. The first example is Tim started to dig as if his life depended on it. And second example is Sally cried as though she were a baby. And the last category or the seventh category is reason. The subordinating conjunction provide a reason or an explanation as to why something happened. The first example is we ate early because we were hungry. And the second example is Sally arrived late so that she wouldn't be have to see her boss. Move on to the next subordinating conjunction. This is in English there are a lot of subordinating conjunctions, but the most common one along with the few examples of subordinating conjunction are used as follow. As we can see in the table on the right, there are nine. Comparison, time, concession, relative pronouns, reason, condition, place, and relative adjective, and manner. Subordinate conjunction for comparison is than, rather than, whether, as much as, and whereas. And subordinating conjunction for time is after, as soon as, until, whenever, and now that. Subordinating for concession is to, although, and even though. And subordinating conjunction for relative pronouns is who, whoever, whom, whomever, and whose. And subordinating conjunction for reason is because, since, so that, in order that, or as. And the sixth subordinating conjunction is condition. And it is if, only if, unless, provided that, and assuming that. And the seventh is place. Subordinating conjunction for place is where and wherever. And subordinating conjunction for relative adjectivities is that, whatever, which, and whichever. And the last is subordinating conjunction for manner is how, as though, and as if. And move on to the next slide is difference between coordinating and subordinating conjunction. What is exactly the difference between subordinating and coordinating conjunction? The main difference is that coordinating conjunction join two clauses together for equal importance. The idea may be connected, so a coordinating conjunction is required, but they are two independent or main clauses that are being joined together. In other words, both clauses could be written as separate sentences without coordinating conjunction if the reader preferred. And subordination conjunction, on the other hand, join an independent clause and a dependent clause together. So both clauses are not equal importance. That is to say, the dependent clause only serves to add additional information to the independent clause and cannot be written as sentence on its own. And we reach to the end of our presentation for coordinating and some or coordinating sentence, and thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.